Well, hey there. Welcome back to the People Gardener podcast. Happy to have you here this week. Okay, so how do things go with the figuring out your values? Last week, what we talked about, in order for you to begin with the end in mind and get where you want to go as far as the culture in your business, you have to set the values yourself. You have to determine what is it that I'm trying to create. So last week we talked about that. If you haven't listened to that episode, please go and do that. And this week we're going to talk about the things that you can do that speak to the values that you've set. How you conduct yourself. Your behavior matters. And the reason it matters is because you want to present behaviors that you want other people in your organization to demonstrate as well. It's kind of like the Michael Gerber book, the E-Myth. He talked about McDonald's and he talked about how they process things. And it was always, this is how we do it here. This is how we do it here. This is how we behave in certain situations. This is how we behave in other situations. And when you can emulate the behaviors that you want, and let's face it, we're not all perfect. None of us are. And we are going to mess up. Sometimes we're going to overreact. We're going to underreact. We are going to show negative emotion at a time when it maybe isn't the most opportune. But you want to be focused on showing the behaviors and doing the best that you can to emulate them every day. So the first thing, lead by example. You want to demonstrate the values. They need to be able to see the company values in you and how you operate. So being open and being transparent and respectful in your communications, chances are that's going to speak to one of the values that you chose. Actively listening, being open to hear what people have to say, even when it is contrary to what you believe. Contrary to what you believe may need to be done, or completely opposite of what you've asked them to do. Getting into that neutral place and listening and hearing and valuing that they have chosen to speak up to you, to speak up about something that's important to them. Actively listening, engaging with them. Now, if one of your values is risk-taking, you have to make sure that when they do take a risk, that you don't overreact if that risk actually didn't advance the cause or the thought, or there was no reward, something happened. Have the conversation, but show them that, hey, I'm okay with you taking calculated risks in your position that you believe are in the best interest of the company and of our customer. And I'm okay with that if it doesn't work out. And you do that by the behavior that you exhibit when it doesn't work. And they had a very legitimate, reasoned, honest perspective of why they believe that it would work. Investing in employee development is another way that you can speak to your values. I think most people, they come to work and they want to do a good job. And they want to know, like, okay, so is this it? Is this my job for as long as I'm going to be with the company? Or is there more? And one of the ways that you can demonstrate the more to employees is to help in their development and their growth. And that could be with you personally, taking them under your wing and showing them how to do things, expanding. It can be bringing in consultants, trainers for specific platforms, software applications. It could be bringing somebody in that helps with communication, get them into some public speaking or get them training people. There's so many ways that you can invest in the development of your people, and it doesn't have to mean that you're spending a boatload of money. Spend some time. Go online. There are so many free resources out there, and you can present those and have each person on your team work at some of those. Show them that you are interested in them advancing their own skill sets, and you're happy to help them do that. Another way that you may be able to speak to your values and demonstrate it by your actions is flexibility. When I was working in corporate, I had a team of mostly women. There was one man. At one time, there was two, but it was mostly women. And these were all mothers. And then they were mothers of young children, but then they were mothers of older children as well. And then there was aging parents. And my philosophy was, hey, you know what your job is. You know where you are in your job. And as long as your job gets done, you don't need to ask me if you can have time off. Because lots of them, they were wanting to go to their child's recital, to their Christmas concert, to the Mother's Day teas, to be able to be a chaperone on a field trip. And from my value, community, family, absolutely, I wanted them to be able to do that. I also had a responsibility to the company to make sure that the work got done. So the balancing act there was they all worked as a team and covered for each other each time one of them needed to be gone for something. And it was a beautiful thing to see because the company didn't miss a beat. And we're talking in the sales departments. We've got customers calling in, there's outbound that needs to be done, but they just all looked after each other. That sense of belonging, that sense of I've got your back, that absolute flexibility made them value their position and appreciate the company operating that way. So the culture became really, really strong and close-knit. So getting flexible, I don't know what that would look like for your company, but if you can show flexibility yourself, then that will help them understand, hey, you know what? There is an opportunity for flexibility here, and I would really like to be somewhere else at this particular time. And you'll be able to make it work. Empowering and delegating. Here's another behavior that you can exhibit that will help them understand and show your value towards them. I'm a huge fan of delegation. I believe that it is a gift. It is something that you give each employee to help them understand how you value them, how you see them, and their skill and their capability, how they do their job. For somebody to grow, we need to continue to be giving them tasks and putting them in situations that challenge them. I'm sure all of you have heard when it comes to exercising and lifting weights that your muscle actually has to tear in order to repair and grow. It's the same thing with employees. It's okay for them to feel like they've got a lot on their plate. What's not okay is that they be overwhelmed. So your job is to make sure that they understand that they have your full support and that you believe absolutely that they can get all of these things done. You believe they have the time, they have the skill, they have the interest, the motivation, and that has to be true. You have to know your employee well enough that you can say, yes, all of those things are true. And by doing that, you have just solidified in their own heart and mind that, hey, I can do hard things. I am capable. I am skilled. I'm good at my job. That is an empowering feeling. So the next time you bring something to them that is maybe a little outside their comfort, their response is an automatic, absolutely. Yeah, I'll figure it out. I can do this. And the last one for this week is to just stay approachable. In order for you to share your values as a company and for you to demonstrate in your behaviors, your values, you need to be approachable because they need to be able to feel comfortable and confident to come to you with questions, to come to you with concerns, to give you feedback about how something that you may have said or done made them feel. All of this is only possible when they believe that you're approachable. They believe that you are welcoming to them with any of their cares or concerns, considerations that you want to know, you want to learn more about them. So hopefully this helps you a little bit this next week to identify some of the ways that you can take ownership of living the values that you have set for your company, because you have to live them. They have to be able to see them. And you want people to be able to see them so that they in turn will emulate them. It's not unlike parenting, right? You praise the good behavior so that it happens more regularly. Well, it's the same in a culture. Anytime somebody goes out of their way to be kind, thank them for that. Anytime an employee steps up and fills a void unasked, thank them for that. Every time you thank someone sincerely for doing something that is their job, is more than their job, is outside of their realm of expertise, comfort, by thanking them, you are confirming that you saw them and that you appreciate how they've contributed. So that's it for this week. We'll talk to you again next week.